Heroes are typically defined as selfless individuals who risk everything for the greater good. However, history is filled with people who achieved legendary status not through bravery, but through pure, unadulterated stupidity, selfishness, or criminal intent. These accidental icons stumbled into greatness while trying to do something terrible. Today, we are breaking down 10 wild stories where being a bad person actually resulted in saving the day. Number 1. In a scene straight out of a slapstick comedy, a shoplifter fleeing the police accidentally became a citywide hero by taking down a violent bank robber. The man had just finished stealing merchandise and was sprinting down a busy street, looking over his shoulder at the pursuing officers. At that exact moment, an armed robber was exiting a nearby bank with $50,000 in cash. Because the shoplifter wasn't looking where he was going, he slammed into the robber at full speed. The collision knocked the gunman unconscious and sent his weapon sliding across the pavement. The shoplifter, terrified and confused, scrambled up and kept running, only to be caught blocks away. While he was arrested for his original theft, the bank was so grateful they awarded him $5,000, and the mayor handed him a Citizens Award. His mugshot was eventually published right next to his heroism medal, a permanent reminder that looking backward while running from the law can sometimes stop a major felony. Number 2. Most drunk drivers are rightfully viewed as a menace to society, but one intoxicated motorist accidentally became a guardian angel. Driving at 2 a.m. and weaving dangerously across lanes, the man blew through a red light and T-boned a car in the middle of an intersection. The impact was massive, disabling both vehicles. The other driver immediately fled the scene on foot. When emergency crews arrived to pry open the wreckage, they heard screaming coming from the trunk of the car the drunk driver had hit. Inside, they found a woman who had been kidnapped from a parking lot earlier that night. The kidnapper had been transporting her to a remote location where she likely wouldn't have survived. While the driver lost his license and faced heavy DUI charges, the woman's family publicly campaigned for his leniency. He remains the only person in history to be celebrated by victim advocacy groups for causing a high-speed collision while intoxicated. Number 3. A high school student looking to skip a test by pulling a fire alarm accidentally prevented a mass casualty event. The teenager pulled the lever as a simple prank, hoping to cause enough chaos to get out of class. As the school evacuated and students stood on the football field complaining about the false alarm, a catastrophic gas leak in the basement reached a critical point. 5 minutes after the building was cleared, a massive explosion tore through the lower levels, leveling several classrooms. If the student hadn't pulled that alarm, hundreds of children would have been sitting directly above the blast. Instead of being expelled, he was honored by the mayor and given a school award. He openly admitted it was a prank and he had no idea about the gas, but the city didn't care. His juvenile delinquency had accidentally saved an entire generation of local kids. Number 4. A burglar breaking into a home accidentally found himself playing the role of a tactical police officer. The thief had scouted a house he thought was empty, but as he climbed through the back window, he heard terrified screams coming from the second floor. Creeping up the stairs to investigate, he found an armed home invader holding a family at gunpoint. In a moment of pure panic, the burglar shouted, "Police, freeze!" at the top of his lungs. The armed invader, thinking he was about to be shot by a SWAT team, dove out a window and disappeared into the night. The burglar also fled, but the family caught the whole thing on their security cameras. After seeing himself hailed as a hero on the news, the thief actually turned himself in. The family he tried to rob refused to testify against him, and the judge gave him a significantly reduced sentence, noting that his attempted crime had prevented a potential murder.
Number 5. Illegal dumping is a disgusting crime against nature, but one man's attempt to hide his trash ended up saving 2 lives. To avoid paying dump fees, a man drove deep into a remote forest to drop off old furniture and chemicals. To destroy the evidence, he tried to set a small fire, which quickly spiraled out of control and began scorching the brush. He panicked and drove away, leaving a plume of black smoke rising over the trees. Unbeknownst to him, 2 hikers had been lost in that forest for 3 days and were on the verge of death from dehydration. A search helicopter spotted the smoke from the illegal trash fire, flew in to investigate, and found the hikers nearby. The man was eventually caught and fined for the fire, but the hikers credited him with their survival. His stupid decision to pollute the forest created the only signal rescue teams could see. Number 6. A car thief fleeing with a stolen vehicle accidentally ended a high-speed police chase involving armed robbers. The thief had just hot-wired a car and was speeding away when he blew a stop sign, pulling directly into the path of a getaway car being pursued by a dozen police cruisers. The resulting T-bone collision totaled both cars and left the armed robbers trapped in their seats, allowing the police to make an easy arrest. The thief was injured and arrested for grand theft auto, but the owner of the stolen car was so happy the robbers were caught that they didn't even mind the car was crushed. The police department gave the thief a formal thank you for ending a dangerous pursuit that likely would have ended in a shootout if he hadn't intervened by being a terrible driver. Number 7. A teenager was in the middle of spray painting graffiti in a public restroom when his vandalism led to the exposure of a major crime ring. While trying to find a good spot to tag the wall, he noticed a tiny suspicious hole near the mirror. He poked at it and discovered a hidden camera linked to a serial voyeur who had been recording people across the city for years. The teen's report led to the arrest of a high-level predator and the discovery of dozens of other cameras. While he was initially picked up for vandalism, the charges were dropped after victim advocacy groups protested. His act of destruction ended up protecting the privacy of hundreds of future victims. Number 8. A thief trying to steal copper wire from a power station accidentally saved millions of people from a massive cyber attack. The man was cutting through high-voltage cables to sell the metal for scrap when he accidentally severed the main data line to a major financial center. The building went dark instantly. At that exact moment, a group of elite hackers was in the middle of breaching the center's servers to steal banking data. The sudden, total power loss killed the connection and locked the hackers out before they could finalize the theft. By the time power was restored, security patches had been applied. The hero copper thief was never caught, but his attempt to make $50 off scrap metal saved the global economy billions. Number 9. A man stumbling into the street while dangerously intoxicated accidentally stopped a hit-and-run driver from escaping justice. The drunk man wandered into the middle of the road just as a driver who had just struck a pedestrian was flooring it to escape the scene. The driver swerved to avoid the drunk man, lost control, and wrapped his car around a telephone pole. The drunk man fell over, blinked a few times, and stayed on the ground until the police arrived to arrest both of them. Because the driver was incapacitated by the crash, he couldn't hide the evidence of his earlier crime. The pedestrian survived, and the drunk hero became a local legend for being too intoxicated to stay on the sidewalk. Number 10. An employee trying to sneak into work late by bypassing the security system accidentally triggered a building-wide lockdown that trapped a terrorist. The worker was trying to tamper with the electronic door locks so he wouldn't get fired for his tardiness, but he accidentally tripped a silent alarm that put the entire skyscraper into red alert mode. Every exit locked and the elevators froze. During the subsequent security sweep, police found a man hiding in the stairwell with a backpack full of explosives. The accidental lockdown had trapped the attacker before he could reach the server room. The employee was disciplined for the security breach, but the building's tenants bought him dinner for a year. His attempt to lie about his work hours accidentally saved thousands of lives. So it turns out that sometimes the best way to save the world is to be a total disaster.
Which of these accidental icons blew your mind the most? Was it the burglar who scared off a killer, or the copper thief who accidentally saved the global economy? Let me know in the comments if you think these guys deserve their medals or if they should still be behind bars. If you enjoyed these stories of chaotic justice, smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive into history's weirdest truths. I'll see you in the next one.